Let's talk about what I think might be my favorite horror movie of the year. Late Night with the Devil, directed by the Carnes brothers, Cameron Carnes and Colin Carnes, starring David Dastmalchian as Jack Delroy, Laura Gordon as June Ross Mitchell, Ian Bliss as Carmichael Haig, Fawasi, the guy that plays Christu in this movie, the medium, Fayssai, and his last name Bazzi, Bazzi. We got Ingrid Torelli as Lily, the possessed girl. Rice Autry as Gus McConnell, Jack Delroy's sidekick, his right-hand man in the talk show. And Georgina Haig as Madeline Piper, Jack Delroy's previous wife, his widow. This is a new movie that came out in the Easter weekend. Now, the reason why I didn't see it on Easter weekend is because I went to see Godzilla Kong New Empire instead. And I was planning on seeing this movie on a different day, but every time I went to the theater to see it, it was always at a time that was too late for me to see it. And finally, I go to the theater and I see that there's a 4 o'clock showing. Yes, I can finally see this movie, and this was a really good movie, and everybody in this cast was awesome in the film. The plot of this movie is David Dastmalchian is a talk show host in the 1970s. His show was a big success, but is now getting very low ratings. And he's trying to beat the ratings of Johnny Carson. But he never seems to get to the point where he's more popular than Carson. He seems to be always just underneath Carson, or now he's dropping in ratings to the point where he's losing popularity, and he's got this last-ditch effort to bring back an audience, which he does on a Halloween night, and brings in some interesting guests. He has this guy named Christu, who is a medium, or claims to be a medium. Carmichael Haig, who is a skeptic, a magician that is in the business of debunking people who are trying to prove that the supernatural is real. And then you have June Ross Mitchell and Lily, who June Ross is a woman that's taking care of Lily, who is a girl that's possessed by a demon. And things go all to hell in a very good way, in a very good scary way, and that's pretty much the movie. Now, this movie was getting a lot of buzz from one of the film festivals. I think it was the South by Southwest Film Festival. I'm not sure which film festival it was, but this was the reason why I wanted to see this movie. I really like horror, especially when it's done well, and I like David Dastmalchian. I think he's a wonderful actor. So I wanted to see what he was going to do with this movie being in the lead, and how well he was going to manage with the rest of this cast. And this is awesome. This is definitely my favorite horror movie for this year so far. David Dastmalchian is excellent as Jack Delroy. He's phenomenal as this character who is a bit of a weasel and a bit of a scumbag. He doesn't really care about a lot of the other people that help make his show, like Gus McConnell, who is his right-hand man in the show, and some of the other people. All he cares about is his own success, really, and he doesn't care what he has to do in order to get that success. Which is much of what this movie is about. This movie is about what are you willing to do to be famous, and at what cost is the cost worth it. The guy that plays Christu, the spiritual medium, he's pretty good, even though you can tell that his act of being a spiritual medium is pretty much a fraud. And then you have Carmichael Haig, the skeptic. This guy I did like. I like the fact that he's playing a character that's a very unlikable character, and in a way he's kind of the antagonist of the movie. And then you have June Ross, who's great in the movie as the maternal figure that takes care of Lily, who is the possessed girl. This is the real star of the show. This girl steals the show as the possessed girl. She's creepy whether she's in possessed mode or whether she's just playing Lily, because she's got this look in her face that just comes off so creepy. So my hair is standing on its end through much of the movie when I see her. It was like, oh my goodness. And the woman that plays Madeline Piper, she's really good in the movie, Jack's dead wife. I did like her for what little screen time she gets in the film. I don't want to spoil too much of how her character plays into the overall plot of the movie, but it was really good how her character works out throughout the film. So what are the problems with this movie? Because this is such a great film. I mean, you got a great 70s feel, you got good practical effects in this movie, and the moments where it goes to modern effects, CG, I didn't even mind the modern effects in this movie. Some people were saying that they did mind the modern effects. I didn't mind them. I thought they added to the overall aesthetic, and they were supposed to be the point to prove that the supernatural stuff that was happening in this film was real. That's the whole point of the modern effects. Now, the big controversy with this movie is with the AI-generated title cards that were in this film to create the feel of a 70s talk show. There are some title cards in this movie that were generated by AI, and a lot of people didn't like that, so you had people wanting to boycott this film and review bombing it on the audience side of Rotten Tomatoes, which is a website that I no longer pay attention to. It's a website that does not matter to me as far as determining the quality of the movie. What determines the quality of a movie to me is my own opinion and opinions of certain critics that I do like on YouTube, basically. Not the opinion of a website that I could care less about, because Rotten Tomatoes has lost its worth to me over the years on both sides. Critic side and audience side, I have lost value when it comes to that website, so I just don't bother. I don't always go to that website, and sometimes when I do go to the website, I just go there just for the sake of curiosity and seeing what the score is. But what people don't understand is the big score is not what you're supposed to be looking at. It's the average score, which is the score that is a out of a 10 rating, I think, for critics, and out of a 5 rating for the audience side, according to Dan Murrell on YouTube. But a lot of people just pay attention to the big score, which is the score that shows the ratio of how many critics liked it versus how many critics hated it. Not the average score, which is taking all the scores, all the critics that like it and all the critics that hate it, and averaging it out. That is the real score, really. But whatever. Anyway, this was a really great movie, and overall, I did like the film. I watched this movie 3 times. That's how much I like this movie. I watched it twice in the theater and once on Shudder. It's now on Shudder. So if it's no longer in a theater in your area, just go to the Shudder streaming service and watch it there. My grade for this movie is an A-. I really did like this movie. Maybe the score is a little bit high, but I really did like this film, and I plan to be putting this on my best list for 2024. That's how much I like this movie. It's really good. And I doubt with the horror movies that are coming out, I just saw Abigail, which I thought was pretty good, but not better than this movie. I doubt there will be any other horror movie that comes out this year that will beat this film.